Hey guys, it's quote unquote your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great response video. In this video, we are responding to some guy named, I don't know, like DBDR or something. I can't remember, but he's some Zoomer black pillar who was recommended to me in one of my comments. And so I checked them out, and I think he does some Chad fishing stuff, but this was the first video I saw. And I think there was some stuff in here that I liked, and some stuff I agreed with, some stuff I didn't agree with. But it was in the comment that referred me to him. A guy was saying he comes at it from a Zoomer angle, you come at it from an older audience angle, and I think this video really shows it. You know, the difference in perspective between a younger guy and an older guy. So let's hear what he has to say, and then I'll offer my thoughts as we go along. You know the drill.
Going to read the most brutal thing I think I've ever read in my life. It's a Chad and a Stacy on a football field, and right next to it, it says, and I'm going to read it out, "There's literally nothing I can think of that's more cringe than some genetic, dead-end, socially outcasted, low-status loser trying to self-improve to fit into society. It's like they're so far off the mark, I don't even know where to begin with them. The average person, and even the above average, just exist, and the things that you consider normal just happen to them. No high schooler ever had to self-improve to get a girlfriend. He just existed, thought it would be cool and fun to play sports, and a girl was attracted to him, and they gravitated towards each other. There's no thought out into any of this. These things just happen through the natural flow of life. No self-improvement necessary. That's what happens when you're not a genetic, dead-end, mentally ill freak. You don't ever find yourself one night lying in bed alone wondering why you don't have a single friend, or you've never kissed a girl at 23 years old. You don't devise a plan to stop touching your cock for 6 months in order to look a girl in the eye. You just exist, you go with the societal flow, and you end up with a wife, a nice job, a house, and some kids. If you missed out on this flow, it's probably because you're a complete genetic shit." Man, oh man, I've been saying that forever now. The things that we consider normal. Here's the thing. Every dream, everything I want, a relationship, nice friends, a good job, it's like all of those things are normal to like your average person.
You know that this is a really young guy, because if he wasn't, he would have said kids in there too.
They don't ever have to try those things, except for the job probably, because, everyone has to get a job. But one thing I will say about the job, depending on the people you work with and the way you look, some people, because the kids I've worked with were fucking immature. Every job I've had, I've worked with literal kids, like teenagers, who were just fucking disrespectful to me, just making fun of me. So I think it all depends on if the people you work with are mature. I don't think they're really gonna give a shit that you're a manlet or ugly. But for the most part, yeah, I think it depends on who you work with. But anyway, it hit hard that one. What was it? Let me read it out. It said, "You don't find yourself in bed alone wondering why you don't have a friend, or have never kissed a girl at 23 years old." Man, oh man. I think I was 19. I was coping really hard. I was literally in bed, and I was thinking, when I get to college, it'll be the time of my life, because I got rejected a lot in high school, a lot, maybe 10 times or more during the last 2 years. And I was like, because all my friends, most of them had girlfriends, and I thought, college is gonna be the time of my life. College is when I'm gonna, gonna shine. Just for nothing to happen at all, just.
Yeah. Okay. The him saying that again, there could be a generation thing here, that he 10 times he tried in high school and 10 times he got rejected. I never heard of that happening to anybody and when I was in high school. I knew that some people maybe got rejected once or twice, but usually I think people would give up after that, or they'd be more circumspect. So I don't know if maybe he was in high school is very it's not so much about your physical league, it's about your social league. So I don't know if the 10 tries he was were out of his he wasn't status matched with them. It's I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't comment on it. I'm not gonna, but I'm certainly not gonna, try to devalue his experience. If he says he did it 10 times, I believe him. It's just not what I'm used to. Um, what he said about, but this brings it to like when I was in high school, and why I'm so skeptical of some of these Zoomer black pillars. Now, online dating's its own thing because I've never done online dating, so I can't really comment on it. But when I was in high school, having a girlfriend was not an accomplishment. Every guy who, some guys had girlfriends, some guys didn't, but any guy who wanted a girlfriend had one. It was just you got a girlfriend who was status max with you. So if you were really ugly or really short or whatever, by the way, being short wasn't a big deal when I was in high school. So if you were really ugly or really low status, you got with somebody who was ugly and low status. We used to call them the freaks, the people who were really into the goth stuff. Not that they were all ugly or anything, but some of them were ugly. They were often very out of shape, and they just got with other freaks. And you do that really with any group. The only exception, obviously, would be the neuroatypical people, and most of them actually went to a special school. But the neurotypical ones, or who weren't like in special ed or anything, geez, I don't know. I can't remember any of. I mean, maybe it happened and I didn't notice, but I can't remember any of them who wanted a girlfriend not being able to get one. Um, it was just, I mean, that's guys had girlfriends, and that was just a normal thing. So if that's not the norm anymore, like if neurotypical guys are now can't even get girlfriends, that's different. And I don't know what would cause that, other than I think that more of the world is online now. So I think you're seeing more and more people just disengage from real life and plug into the Matrix or whatever. Then what he said about things getting better in college. Like, yeah, I remember I also kind of looked forward to college that way. I thought college was going to be a 4 year long party, and maybe for some people it is. I actually went to into a party school. Um, for me, it wasn't like that at all. Now, granted, I was going through a lot of mental shit at the time, but but no, like I said, like I said in a previous video, for me, college felt more like real life than like an extension of high school. I was expecting it to be like high school without parental supervision, but to me, it felt more like real life without as many responsibilities. Um, so yeah, but I definitely thought, there would be a big fun social thing for me at college, and that's just not the way it worked out. Again, for a whole variety of reasons. So, but like as for him saying that, like, I mean, I'm sorry he wasn't able to get a girlfriend in college, but I would expect that a lot of guys who aren't as romantically successful in high school do have more success in college because, again, there isn't the social structure, social hierarchy holding them back, and they're able to kind of meet with people who are expand their horizons and meet with people with other interests, and they've matured and other people have matured. So, yeah, I mean, I see where he's coming from, and it sounds like his experience was a little bit like mine. I think he's about to say in a minute. He said that college was actually even worse than high school, and high school was hell. Um, Again, I can't give you a fair description of college because I was such a mental wreck in college that for me I can't give you a fair description. I wouldn't say college was worse than high school. I guess I could see how some people would say that. It's definitely different. It really depends on what you like and what you want.
Just for it to be even just downhill, guys. It's been a fucking downhill spiral. Uh, Ever since I graduated. Honestly, even then, even high school has just been downward because high school wasn't fun either. It was hell on earth. So it's still been a downhill spiral, and people will tell you that things get better with age. But here's something I find kind of funny and ironic: the people that tell you that things get better when you get older, bro. You just hang in there, bro. Things will get better. Keep getting older. Things will get better. But you ask anyone over 30 years old, about their life, like when was the most fun they've ever had, they'll be like, oh, I wish I was 18 again. Oh, I had the best time in my life. It's like, wait a minute, I thought things were supposed to get better.
Yeah, this statement is what made me want to respond to the video. That is what he just said is a very young guy thing to say. It's the exact thing I would have said when I was his age. So, there's the there's two reasons that I'm always kind of hesitant to talk to younger guys about this, about like the aging experience and the perspective of aging and stuff. Um, a lot of black pill guys who will say the stuff like, well, it's your best days are in your late teens or early 20s or whatever. If you missed out on then, you missed out on everything because all life is a decline after that. And like there's the reasons that I don't like to really discuss that with them is one is just it's impossible as at their age it's just impossible for them to understand it they just like I wouldn't have understood it with their age, the shift in perspective that just naturally comes with age. The other thing is that the actual truth is even more depressing than they think, and I don't want I mean they've got enough problems as it is. So if you're a young guy, maybe you should turn it off now, because I am going to discuss it here. So the first thing that he says, they when people say, "Oh, it's going to get better," um, yeah, that people probably shouldn't say that because it really depends. There's definitely people who things do get better for, like for whatever reason that the high school experience is particularly miserable for them or the college experience. Um, just like it's like somebody like me who was never interested in marriage or children. Just like I'm never interested in that, some people when they were kids were never interested in the kid stuff. They were never interested in all the stuff that kids are into. So for them, it was just a complete waste of time, and for them, things did get better. But so there. I mean, people really shouldn't say that though because you don't know. Everybody's situation is so different. Like I would never tell some kid in high school like, "Don't worry, things get better," because I then like I would have to know like him, like what he's like now, why he's so miserable now, what things are going to be like later. I mean, so many things could happen, and I don't know if you can realistically tell anybody something. I mean, unless it's something like the reason they're miserable is because they're abused at home. Then yes, it will get better when you move out of that abusive environment. So anyway, but then he was saying he's saying that people say like, oh, okay, you know, things get better, but then they themselves, you ask them, anybody over 30, what was, and what he said was actually interesting. He said he didn't ask them what was the best time of your life. He said, what was the most fun you ever had? And they'll all say teens, early 20s, maybe even mid 20s, or sometimes maybe, maybe even like as younger as 13 or 14. And, that's a different question than what's the best time of your life. So I'm glad he phrased it that way. And so let's start with that. The most fun. Yes, I mean, there might be some exceptions, but generally speaking, the most fun you're ever going to have, certainly the most fun I ever had, is going to be late teens, early 20s. That's going to be the most fun you've ever had in life. Um, that's true, and then maybe into mid 20s, and then again, somebody maybe if you were like you really had the popular kid experience in middle school, maybe it was even then. Um, I certainly didn't. Uh, so in that sense, he's absolutely right. Um, so you would think from a black pill perspective, you would think, oh, okay, well that means I didn't even get that experience, but even if I did, those were the most fun years. And so even if you did get that experience, it doesn't matter because though that time is over and it's all downhill from there, you'll never have that much fun again. So that the aging is just, is itself just a black pill. And it's like, I hear where you're going. That's exactly what I thought when I was young. But actually, the truth is even worse than that. The When you're like get up at your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, the part of getting older that's bad, the worst part of getting older. I mean, yeah, there's the physical decline, but honestly, that's not that big a deal. The But the biggest, the worst part of it is not that you can't do like the clubbing, the dating or the, playing video games with friends for hours type stuff. The problem is not that you can't do that young guy stuff anymore. Um, that actually is not a problem. You may think it will be, it won't. It's not a problem at all. What's a problem is that you no longer want to do that stuff. That's what's really bad. That's when because that's what'll happen. And that and not wanting to do it is even worse than wanting to do it and not being able to. And that's just something you have to see for yourself. Like, why is it worse? Because when you don't want anything, it's just like there's just this emptiness. And it goes back to what I say, like the like me at age 38, like, so if I could be, a 20-year-old living the Chad experience, like, I know that would not make me an iota happier. It would probably make me less happy. And there's a certain carefreeness that, or I don't even know how to describe it, but I would say that in general, when people talk about the best part, like they talk about how it's great to be young or whatever, they don't really mean, even if they don't realize this, they don't mean in the physical sense. I mean, again, that's part of it, but what they mean is like the mental sense. It's the mental youth is the loss of the mental youth is much worse, much more painful than the loss of the physical youth. And I mean, that's the real black pill. At least when it comes to aging. So anyway, I'll let him go on here.
What are you talking about? Oh, I want to go back to 18. And people don't realize that you have a literal prime. I'd argue it's anywhere from like your teenage years to 30. Because seriously, think of any 30-year-old who parties and has like social lives. All those motherfuckers are married. They got, wives.
Okay. First of all, the guys who get married and have wives and kids and stuff, I know a lot of people do this. They still do have social lives. It's just different than the kind you have when you're a kid. It's more, family oriented, boring suburban dad shit. That may not be appealing to you, certainly not appealing to me, but that's the kind of shit that you like doing. Like or like if that's the kind of lifestyle that attracts you, that's going to be the stuff you want to do as you get older. It's just how it goes. The other thing is he was saying that basically your social life ends as you get married and stuff. Well, yeah, again, that's because again, social life is something you value when you're young, and you won't value it as much when you get older. And so that's why they're saying that stuff. And then I guess what he's talking about is, well, then they're saying that, oh, I want to go back to being 18 or I want to go back to being 20. Okay, well, let's talk about a couple parts about that. There's a few things going on there. When you've got some married guy with kids, oh, he's got a good job, he's got a house, he's got a car, he's got the American dream, good marriage, got kids, and he's still saying, I want to go back to being 18 or want to be going back to 20. And here, there's a few things going on there. First, let's talk about like the American dream, house, kids, wife thing. First of all, I've said this before. I mean, to me, that sounds like hell, but most guys want that. I would say like 95% of guys want that. And 95% of guys, if they're able to get it, if they're able to get that, then they'll like it. I mean, it'll be good. However, for most of them, and there's exceptions, there are going to be some who are going to be completely satisfied with it. But for most of them, even though that's what they want, it's not enough to satisfy them. There's like a kind of boredom and dissatisfaction underneath it. So they're happy, they love their kids, they love their wife, they love the lifestyle stuff, but they also feel like they want something more. And then so you start searching for things, and that I think is really where the midlife crisis comes from. You start thinking like, this is it, and so you start grasping for stuff I don't know, fill that void or whatever. Um, the other thing is that a lot of times when they talk about, oh, I wish I was 18 or 20 or whatever, they're talking about what they're thinking of is how free they were of responsibility back then. Because now they've got not just responsibilities at work, responsibilities in their relationship, and when you're married, you're accountable to somebody every day for the rest of your life. And, and responsibility to their kids, the mortgages and stuff. There's a lot of responsibility when you're raising a family, a ton of responsibility. So they're thinking about, one of the reasons they're saying young is that they won't have that kind of responsibility anymore. That's what they're really thinking about. And then here's the third thing, the super Blackpilled thing. When they actually say, I'd like to be 18 or 20, they mean like for a weekend. They mean like for a vacation. They don't mean I want to permanently go back and relive things from age 18 or from age 20, because they're not that person anymore. The stuff that they thought was so fun then, yeah, it might be fun for one night. One night for them now. But after that, it's just going to feel completely retarded. It's going to feel so pointless that they're not going to be able to enjoy it. They'll be miserable. So, yeah, I mean, that's that there.
Children. Even I have one friend who's married right now, my age. He's gone. He's in another world. Gone. Done for. I haven't talked to him since. Maybe once or twice, and he's always working, always, with his wife. And it's like, yep, there's another friend gone. But I mean,
yeah, but you know what, man? You really don't need friends. Friends are the most overrated thing in the world. They're because I would be the last guy to tell you to like not get married and stuff, because I think most guys do need a marriage to be happy. Do need a marriage, kids. I don't know. I'd say if you want them and you can have them, have them. That I don't think whereas I think most guys absolutely need a wife to be happy. I don't think they absolutely need kids. Um, but friends, you just simply don't need them. They're the most, I think it's a very American centric thing to say like, oh, you got to have friends. No, you don't. You really don't. They come and go and they're not a big deal.
I mean, at least he's happy. Or so I think. I don't know. He did call me once and said, like, oh, bro, I'm jealous that you're single and not by yourself, bro. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I'm the single that you're thinking of. The kissless, hugless virgin single. I don't think that's the most ideal.
Yeah, I think it's a grass is greener thing, but I really think that what he meant was he would like to be relieved of all the responsibility that he's living with. Again, the constant accountability to the wife, the nonstop, like unbreakable routine, and the ever present stress from parenting, having to do all the boring shit of parenting, and parenting is like 99% boring shit, and and then the stuff from work and the financial stuff. It's a grind. It's a grind, and that's what I think he's saying. So yeah, he actually may very well mean the hugless, kissless virgin. He just wants, some relief, but really he's just thinking out loud.
Deal type of single. But anyway, the self-improvement shit. Here's what I have to say about self-improvement. Because what did I say here? Yeah, no high schooler ever had to self-improve to get a girlfriend. He just existed. That's how it works for your basic people. If you're not ugly or short, you just end up with a girlfriend. No thought to it at all. And then usually those are the people that say like, oh, come on, bro, just get a girlfriend, bro. It's not hard. Come on. And they get mad. It's because they don't understand, the struggle. Be like, come on, bro, just get a girlfriend. It's like, I've tried.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. That's what I would have told you, because again, unless it's a generation thing, because this guy sounds neurotypical, but I mean, I believe him that he hasn't been able to do it. I'm just not sure why. Maybe this stuff about like the Zoomers and the ultra black pill is true. But I mean, I also get like why he'd be frustrated, because it sounds like he is neurotypical and he has made an effort, and it just hasn't happened. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to know more about his situation, but in his case, I do think it would make him happier. I don't know why it hasn't yet.
I have 40 rejections, probably over 100 online. Nothing is really gonna change. But anyway, a self-improvement. It's like, what can you do as a male to really self-improve?
Can't really do anything as a female either.
I'm not telling you to not self-improve or so like just do whatever you want to self-improve, but I don't understand what you can do besides the gym. It's not like we have makeup, you know, like we can
Well, you can do plastic surgery and you can do leg lengthening. Those are the two things that will really improve your SMV. You maybe, if you're like a frame cell or skull cell, can use HGH, but I mean then you're risking giving yourself cancer, which is not how you want to go, and causing all sorts of other problems. You maybe can do that. Use it. I'm certainly not recommending it. So, but yeah, I mean, I think I had one commenter who described like described it as becoming a Franken Chad. You take some normie type guy, and then you give him HGH, so his skull's a little bigger, his frame's a little bigger, and he's bulked up. Then you do the 3 inches of leg lengthening, so now he's taller. Then you do some, South Korean level plastic surgery, and now he's got a pretty good face too. Because they can do a lot with eye area, and orthodontics can make your bite and jaw fine, and then plus you could get a chin implant if necessary. And they can get, if you've got like a really big fucked up nose, they can make that normal. If you got a really big fucked up ears, they can make that normal. I mean, there's limits obviously, but they can do a lot, especially now. So now you might not have the money to do all that, the money or the time to do all that shit. But there is a lot of stuff you can do if the money and time are there.
bump our faces up from a 4 to an 8. All we really have is the gym, and I think the gym really only works if you're already like semi-attractive and tall to begin with, you know? Or if you have like a fat covering some like definitions in your face, then that's the only way I could see the gym really working out for you, you know? Other than that, because I've known people who have been in the gym for at least 5 years every day grinding, manlets who still don't have girlfriends, and it's like, I don't, like, you wasted all this time, and like,
Well, I mean, if the reason you are failing to get a girlfriend is because of your height, your physical deficiencies, then lifting weights is not going to fix that. So that would mean, again, if its height is truly the reason that you can't get a girlfriend, then the only thing you could do is get the leg lengthening surgery. I mean, the going to the gym is probably going to make it worse. Because I mean, girls don't care about that shit, but also being muscled up as a short guy will actually bring more attention to your shortness.
like, and here's the thing, like, I know people don't go to the gym for like to get girls and shit, but you notice like a lot of them do. Like a
Well, then they're fucking retarded. Going to the gym, there is no gym maxing. The only time that gym maxing would ever be relevant at all is if you were at least you were a tall guy who was at least okay looking. You'd have to be tall, but you were scrawny. If you do that, and you bulking up will help you. Bulking up that in that case will raise your SMV. Average height or below average height, gym maxing will do nothing. It will do literally nothing for your SMV. Literally zero. Women want your bones, they want your genes. Muscles are not going to help again unless you're like a tall, frame cell normie. Then it might help. Depending on what your results are, then it could make a little bit of a difference. But that's it. I mean, if going to the gym to attract women is stupid because it's just not going to work.
like a big reason why people go to the gym, some people, is actually to get a girlfriend, just to like compete with everybody else, in this looks game we have. It's kind of cringe, but there are some people who just go to the gym just because they like it. But yeah, like seriously, it's not like the gym is gonna change around your facial tones. It's not like the gym is gonna increase your height any. It's like, I don't know. It just
No, I get what you're saying. There's no natural healthy ways to improve your SMV. That's a fact. The That's just reality. The only things you can do to really improve your SMV are going to be dangerous, illegal, expensive, or some combination of all three. HGH. And your mileage may vary. They might not even work. HGH, leg lengthening surgery, and facial plastic surgery. We're talking about a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of risks. Those are the only things that are going to improve it. Anybody who's telling you that grooming, style, gym maxing is going to improve your SMV is wrong. I mean, the only thing that's natural, healthy thing that could maybe help is if you're carrying too much body fat. Take some of that off. But that would only be an issue if you were like already morbidly obese, because that morbid obesity will detract from your SMV. But just because your SMV may still be shit under your morbid obesity. So even then, you're likely not going to get great results from that either. So, looks maxing is kind of a meme. Because again, you need some base to work with to have for looks maxing to be relevant, or for like natural looks maxing to be relevant. And if you have that base to work with, that's all women care about. Women can see the base underneath anyway. They've got they're genetically programmed to be able to see the inner base. If you have the base to work with, you don't need to self improve, because women can see it underneath. They can see the genetic potential, and that's all they care about.
I don't really see how the gym can work out for like a majority of people. But yeah, let me see. It said right here, you don't devise a plan to stop touching your cock for 6 months. That's hilarious. You know those Nofap copers and I used to listen to that shit, believe it or not. Back when I was a teenager, I thought that if you don't jerk off, then you'll get so much confidence, and girls will want to talk to you, and you'll get a girlfriend that way, and it's so easy to talk to girls after that, and they'll fall in love with you. It's like, how does not jerking off?
They go beyond that. They'll say shit like it causes, even without the confidence, it creates you exert pheromones that make women more attractive to you. Anything about no fat making you more attractive to girls or even more confident is pure cope bullshit. No fat isn't totally useless, but it's only useful as part of a larger practice of self-restraint. And that will make a difference, self-restraint. But I don't know that it's necessarily going to make you any more attractive to women, because I'm saying the master. Not self-restraint, sense restraint. Because the masters of sense restraint are guys in monasteries. Those guys are like the Olympic athlete gold medalist of sense restraint. And look up pictures of them, of those what do you call them, Tibetan Buddhist monks. Look up pictures of them, watch YouTube videos of them, and there's nothing wrong with them, but you're not going to see a lot of women in the comments being like, oh my god, these guys are so hot. Those are guys who've done Nofap and no 10 million other things for like 20 years. It hasn't made them any more attractive. It's not going to make you any more attractive. It may have uses, but being more attractive isn't one of them. Really it gets back to what I was saying before. There is really no self-improvement for looks. Beyond like the dangerous, illegal, expensive stuff. And even that requires some level of base to work.
Off guarantee attraction. It doesn't. I know there's like health benefits to NoFap or some bullshit. I have no idea. I gotta because I did do it. I'm not even joking. I thought that would literally attract me a girl. I thought if I stopped doing that, then a girl would just automatically find me attractive. How
well, because that's what they say. That's what they say.
Ridiculous is that? Seriously, how ridiculous is that? It's actually mind-blowing. And the self-improvement shit, like I said, what can you do? And here's a funny thing. I noticed PUAs, they usually say looks don't matter. It's all about game and confidence. But then again, they'll tell you, you gotta get a better haircut. You gotta hit the gym. You gotta, take a shower. You gotta do this to self-improve. It's like, wait a minute. I thought looks didn't matter. I thought it was all about game and confidence. Why do I have to change my appearance. I thought that looks didn't matter.
Yep, no, he's right. Although I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here. When they're saying looks don't matter, they might be talking in like the 1990 way looks don't matter, like as in your facial structure doesn't really matter. So like instead you're gonna go for you look at your facial structure is maybe below average. I think even and then because how many people's faces are actually hideous? It's pretty rare. I know it exists, but it's pretty rare. So you might have a face that's homely. That's okay. It's like okay, well we can work with the homely face as long as you hit the gym and have confidence and good grooming and swagger and shit like that. And there might be something to that. I think that's what they're trying to say. So it's not quite as hypocritical as it sounds because I think they're really talking about face only.
Matter, you know, it's like that kind of shit. But I mean, yeah, just reading this shit was fucking brutal. Um, let's see, I've been saying that, guys, for so fucking long. The societal flow shit that everything, every dream, every simple dream that I've had of finding good friends, relationships. First off, I missed out on it completely. I definitely did miss out on my like prime years, if you want to call it that. Um, and like these normal people just don't have to try. Usually like people just end up with a girlfriend because they're just attracted to each other and they end up together. Like it's so simple. Like I used to think it was this big, because I noticed like all my friends' girlfriends they didn't what's it called have to do anything. They just were together. They liked each other. They were talking to each other and they were they just got together. It was like that kind of thing. But every girl I ever talked to, that I was friends with, always just wanted to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's truly brutal.
Yeah, I mean, if that's how it goes, then there really is nothing you can do because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Like, I mean, I've never quote unquote approached a girl. That's just not something like anytime. Like, I always let it just kind of naturally escalate. Um, maybe unless you're a Chad, you kind of have to as a guy, if you're not Chad, you're always going to have to force the issue a little bit, unless you have like some insane status stuff, or she's just one of those nympho types. Um, but so yeah, I mean the thing is, she'll make it obvious if she wants you to. Actually, that's not true. That's not true because sometimes she'll flirt with you just to either A because it's fun or B, and I think this is probably more common. She's actually just trying to fuck with you, and you as a guy really have no way of knowing, I guess. So then you might try to escalate and then get shot down. And she's like, "Oh no, no, no! I only wanted you as a beta orbiter or as a simp. I didn't, I didn't mean as a boyfriend. I wanted you as a simp." Um, so, yeah, I don't really in that particular situation. I wouldn't really have any advice. I would say that because I mean, my advice would definitely not be to approach. I think that's horrible advice, and I wouldn't say to try to put yourself out there with online dating or going to clubs. I don't think that's going to be successful. I mean, like to me, mm, again, I think black pillars exaggerated, but I think what the black pill orthodoxy would say, if you aren't like the kind of guy who random women aren't coming up to on the street and introducing themselves to and making it clear they want you to hit on them, if you don't look that good, then don't even bother with online dating. But the thing is, don't you guys remember that Gerbert Johnson guy? He's a millennial, I mean a Zoomer, and yeah, he's a good looking guy, but he's not really what you'd call a Chad. I mean, he's a little bit below average height. He's kind of skinny, and he's handsome, but he's not Jude Law or anything. And you saw he did some things of like him versus a Chad in online dating, and yeah, he wasn't the Chad obviously did much better than him, but he was still getting hits even as himself and saying like really retarded shit too. So I think that their black pillars kind of take it too far. So, but in somebody in this case, geez, I don't know what kind of advice I would give to them other than to say, I mean, I would just say go to situations where hopefully you can meet women with similar interests. That would be the only thing I could say. And then just keep trying. Because I mean, the thing is, if you keep trying and it doesn't happen, you're not any worse off than you are now. Um, that's the only thing I could think to say.
You know, and here's another. I might make a video on this. I'm gonna like wrap it up right here, but might make a video on this. Um, there are so many people who say, you know, oh, you guys always forget this one crucial step. You know, the looks maxing advice, and then you know, you get into the relationship, and then now what? You guys never discuss it. It's like, what the fuck do you mean now what? Anyone who's ever been in a relationship ever never had to. That's like saying, oh, bro, you know, when you get into a friendship, bro, you gotta. Now what, bro? Now what? It's like, what do you mean now what? It's like, oh, the black pill doesn't talk about once you actually ascend and get into a relationship. It's like you don't have to. No person ever in the history of the world has ever had to, you know, write down, take advice to like get into a relationship, like plan it out and shit. It just happens.
See, okay, here's where I think he's losing the thread a bit. And I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying, and I'm sympathetic to it. But I think he's taken it a little too far because, you know, nobody had to ever tell LeBron James how to play basketball. To him, it was just natural. You know, like the way he moves and everything like that. It's all just gifts. He just kind of was able to figure it out as he went along. However, like if I wanted to get good at basketball, I would need a step by step plan and I would need to like really research it, really work on specific skills, really train for certain things. That would be the only chance I would have to improve. Now, even if I did all those things, I'm never going to be a good basketball player just because the gifts aren't there. However, I probably could get better at basketball and maybe even a lot better, although that's not saying much. And it's going to be a similar type of thing. Like, yes, relationships and stuff, that getting in a relationship, yes, that comes natural for most people, or at least it used to. Maybe it's different now. But somebody who it's not natural for, then they might need a plan. They might need a plan. They might need a coaching. There might be things that they need to work on to make success more likely. Just the same way that, yes, some guys can go in and take the SAT with no prep and get a 1600, but some guys might need a lot of prep to even get an 1100, or I don't know how they do SAT scores anymore. So don't just say that just because most people don't need it or the elites don't need it doesn't mean that you can't necessarily benefit from it. And I'm not saying the reverse either, that you can, but I'm just saying that the analogy isn't as perfect as he thinks, or as what he's saying isn't maybe as true as he thinks. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next.